are for our third and final lecture for our Unit 3. Today we'll be discussing the religion of Hinduism. Considered by some the oldest religion in the world, it is shown to be one of the most dominant religions in the Indian subcontinent and consists of many diverse traditions, including Shaivism, Vaishnavism, and Sikhism, among several others. As usual, please make sure that you put away all your electronic devices and anything else that you have that could be distraction of you or from you. And as always, make sure that you also have out your note sheet that is attached to your map this time, your Map 1 worksheet under the Hinduism tab on the right side, so that you can fill that out as we go through this and get all the information down that you need. If you have any questions afterwards, please let me know, and we'll make sure that we get those sorted out for you right away. And with that, let's get started. One of the most fundamental pieces to Hinduism is the passage stated here. Thee is only one God, but endless are his aspects, and endless are his names. This one statement presents the idea that there is only one God who has power and authority over all, regardless of what the people call him. This belief differs to many other religions and traditions that believe in multiple gods. However, Hinduism is very specific in recognizing that, as far as they're concerned, that there is only one God. Interestingly, the word Hindu comes from the word Sindhu, which is an Indo-Aryan name that means the Indus River. Today, the word Hindu, or Hinduism, represents the religion of the majority of the people in India, even though it originally had started to identify with its people in a different geographical area. And that people identified with the geography of the area, and not the religion itself. The fact that the name refers to a geographical place, not a religion, even though now it refers to a religion. So just a little bit of interesting irony there. So, what exactly is Hinduism? Well, as I mentioned earlier, it is considered to be one of the oldest religions in the world, if not the oldest. It is the religion of the vast majority of the Indian people on the Indian subcontinent. Before there was Buddhism, there was Hinduism. It was Hinduism that gave birth to other religions of Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. If you recall, Sikhism relates to its traditional form of Hinduism. We actually have a Sikh temple down on the southeast side. There was an incident that happened a couple years back relating to the this particular Sikh temple. But Sikhism comes from the Hindu belief as well. Just a little bit of added information there. One of their fundamental beliefs is that one needs to appreciate tolerance and diversity, and that the truth is one of many paths a person can take to become a better person. So in order to be a better person, there's multiple ways to get there, but every person has their own path. Hinduism also recognizes that there are many deities, but only a single impersonal and ultimate reality. Meaning that, like it or not, reality is out there and one must tolerate and accept it for what it is before you can attempt to try and understand or even change it. Because of that, there is one God that we'll talk about in a minute, Brahman, who has millions of different aspects to him. Those are the different deities that they worship. We'll get to more upon that later. Finally, the Hindus have a type of philosophy and a way of life that focuses both on this world and those beyond this world. So, how did Hinduism begin, you might ask? Well, there is really no particular founder of Hinduism. However, it was developed over 5,000 years ago in the Indus River Valley civilization. What we do know is that around 4,000 to 3,500 BC, 4,000 to 3,500 years ago, the Aryans entered the region. And tradition also dictates that the Vedic traditions began in the region around 3,500 to 2,500 years ago. Without getting into too many details, the Vedic tradition speaks of having many rituals and gods, sacred texts called Vedas, and employ a social structure that today we call the caste system. Then there is a set of beliefs also known as Upshandans, which believe in a metaphysical philosophy, and that it took root around 2,800 to 2,400 years ago. However, it was the Vedic tradition that would ultimately develop into Hinduism. So what exactly do Hindus believe? Well, as stated before, they believe in one impersonal and ultimate reality. They call this Brahman. Brahman manifests himself as many personal deities or elements, if you will. These elements or concepts focus on the specific aspects of reality, on those of being a true essence of life. This they call Atman. Atman is the soul. It dictates that Brahman is trapped inside matter, meaning trapped inside everything, because everything has matter. There is an element that focuses on reincarnation, though. Atman is continually born into this world, lifetime after lifetime. This rebirth of Atman is called samsara. A word you might have used before is actually used improperly most of the time. That word is obviously karma. Karma is part of a Hinduism that speaks of the impurity people do, and it's what keeps us attached to this world. It is important to understand that although Hindus do strive for an ultimate goal in life, that is to release Atman and reunite it with the divine, basically a person becoming one with Brahman, which is a concept known as moksha. One thing you might have already known about Hinduism is their belief in reincarnation, that when we die, we come back as something else. Here we see samsara, which is the wheel of rebirth. It identifies the cycle of reincarnation. People may be reincarnated at a higher level or a lower level of existence, depending on their karma from their present life. People may be reborn into plants or animals, or they may be elevated to a higher caste, like a human. But one thing is certain to a Hindu: death is not final. They expect to be reborn over and over again. One of the fundamental elements of Hinduism is the idea of karma and dharma. Karma is the idea that actions and deeds produce a justified effect based on its moral worthiness. It is determined all circumstances and situations of a person's life. Dharma, however, is used to describe a person's duty in living a proper way and being righteous. When speaking of Brahman, you need to understand it refers to a person's reality. Brahman is difficult to explain because of its religious complexities. It's sort of a combination of a god and a sense of morality. The lifespan of Brahman is 1,000 times the whole of human history. So, if you can put a date on how long human history has been around, multiply that by 1,000, and that's his lifespan. Obviously, we don't know his lifespan because the length of human history still exists. It's still ongoing. Brahman also reminds us that a world will end with the appearance of Vishnu. Vishnu, like Brahma, is one of the three major deities of the Hindu faith. The end of the world, however, isn't scheduled to happen for about 4,000 years from now, so we're pretty safe. With the millions of different deities, let's take a look at the major ones. Something to remember, though, is that the Hindus believe that there is only one God of all things, Brahman. However, Brahman presents himself in different ways at different times. These are the deities that are worshipped. So the Hindus believe that Brahman is the creator god. Here you will see some descriptions of some symbols relating to that god. So take a second to take a look to see all the different parts of these images that relate to these symbols here, such as the four hands, the rosary necklace, the book, so on and so forth. Each of these symbols that are in these pictures have a purpose and represent something specific. The second of the major three deities is Vishnu, the preserver god. The idea being that this god is what allows reincarnation of believers. Vishnu has 10 incarnates, or avatars, meaning descendants. So 10 descendants. Rama and Krishna being some among others as well. The last of the three major deities is Shiva, the god of construction, the goddess of constructive destruction, also known as the Transformer. She appears as Shiva Nataja, Lord of the Dance of Creation. Here we see him. Sorry, it's not a she; it's a he. Here we see him with his wife Parvati and son Ganesha. Yes, that's an elephant head on his head, on the kid. The purpose in this faith is also as a deity represents the remover of obstacles. This particular deity, that's what it represents. They are the remover of obstacles. If you have something in your way, something preventing you from achieving something, you might want to worship to this particular god to help you along your way in moving forward instead of being held back. You would worship to this particular deity. There are many other deities in the Hindu faith besides the big three. Let's go back. Here we see Hanuman, who is worshipped by the villagers as a protective boundary guardian, by the wrestlers for his strength. We can't forget about Devi, or the feminine deities, the female deities. These deities are said to be female, as I just said. One of these being Sarasrita, who is the goddess of wisdom and a consort or mistress of Brahma. So basically his girlfriend. Another of the deities is Lakshmi, the goddess of good fortune. She too is a consort, but of Vishnu. Parvati is the divine mother. She is also wife to Shiva. Durga is the protectress, while Kali is the destroyer of demons. In all, there are about 330 million more deities that are out there, each representing a different aspect of Brahma or humanity. I hope those of you that are interested in studying Hindu can keep all of them straight, because maybe you get to be a guru then. All of these deities are but manifests of the impersonal Brahman. That means that they're all indirectly related to Brahman in some way. They're all kind of part of him as one whole God, but they're also different aspects of him. In Christianity, you can kind of relate it to God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. It's one God, but three different elements of God. Same kind of thing here, but we're talking millions of different elements instead of just three. Now, let's take a look about the Hindu symbol Om, pronounced Om. Okay, it is composed of three sounds: A, U, M, and the symbol's threefold nature is central to its meaning. It represents several important triads: the three worlds of the earth, atmosphere, and heaven, the three major Hindu gods, and the three sacred Vedic scriptures, the Raj, the Yajur, and the Sama. Together, Om embodies the essence of the entire universe. Being the most sacred sound, Om is in the room of the universe and everything that exists. It continues to hold everything together. And you'll notice this symbol has three specific pieces to it. That backwards E-looking thing, that kind of hook thing to the bottom and to the right, and right above it is the third symbol representing the heaven. How does Hinduism? Understanding of the Hindu faith is pretty complicated, including the belief of how Hinduism directs life in the world. Part of this direction is the idea that we need to respect all life. That is why most Hindus are vegetarians. Another idea is that human life is superior. This means they break up human life into the four stations of life, known as castes. They are the priests and teachers, nobles and warriors, the merchant class, and finally the servant class. This caste system still exists today and is cause for much discrimination in those parts of India that still practice it. The caste system is a way that they have been able to justify social classes and have been able to discriminate against the lowest servant or slave class. The last thing to know about the Hindus' belief is that there are four stages of life: student, householder, retired, and renunciant. Each of these having specific expectations and responsibilities depending where you are in your life. So early on you are considered a student. Once you have children and are married, you are a householder and take care of that family. Once your children have moved out, you are considered retired. And after retirement and your death, you are put into this renunciant area where you are to be focusing on your holy faith and scriptures, and you're focusing on becoming one with the gods. This is the later end part of your life. So, as mentioned earlier on the previous slide, the caste system is how the Hindus' social system is made up. There are four major caste systems, each with very specific areas on who is in which area. At the top is the Brahmins, or the priests. Obviously, these would be the most important people, because these are the ones that are most well versed in the faith itself. And because in India, a lot of the faith is also how the government is structured, this is also relating to the government as well, not just the faith. The next are the Kshatriyas, the warriors and administrators, or the leaders. The third level are the Vishtraya, the farmers, merchants, teachers, and artisans. And finally, there is the Sudra, who are at the bottom. They are made up of the servants and laborers. Underneath the Sudras is another group of people that are said to live outside the caste system. They are known as the untouchables. These people are best described as those casted out of society. They have no place in society, are virtually ignored, and, like the name implies, are not to be touched in any way because their status is so low. Almost like they shouldn't exist. So therefore, they shouldn't even be recognized. Another thing to know about the caste system is you are usually born into that system. You are born with a set of expectations that suits what particular caste you are in. If you are born a farmer, you are expected to serve as a farmer throughout your life. If you are born as an untouchable, you'll always be an untouchable. So on and so forth. So again, you are born into your caste system, in most cases. One of the most well-known Hindus is Mohandas Gandhi. He was a political and spiritual leader of India who helped its country gain independence from Great Britain. Take a few moments to look at his particular accomplishments. In conclusion, there are many ways to think of the Hindu belief as being extremely old, but at the same time still continuing on in a modern world. This has been a very abbreviated description of the Hindu faith and a few items that make up their religion and their social life. As you might be able to tell, it is a very involved practice that takes a lifetime of understanding, respect, in order to complete, since the religious beliefs is a set of life's expectations that take your entire life to accomplish. So, with that being said, if you have any questions concerning any of the items that were listed in this lecture, please let me know as soon as you can so we can discuss them and get you squared away as soon as possible. So with that, we are done with our lectures for this unit, and we can start preparing for your test. So continue to be safe, stay awesome, and we'll see you for the next unit.